Hey everyone, the Mad Queens are back in full effect, and we're going to be talking about the latest episode of Thrones Spoils of War. But before we even talk about this epic episode, I want to introduce my ladies, starting with my girl Timo. Introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, this is me, Timo. Just here with the Mad Queens to discuss this very depressing episode.
Yeah, it's really depressing that Jamie's a dumbass that's probably going to die. Anyway, moving on to my girl AK. Introduce yourself.
What's going on, fam? Lord Commander AK. Happy to be here with my ladies, and we're about to get into this episode.
Yes, we are. And of course, my beauty queen. Let them know who you are.
What's good, everybody? Manaro here, ready to get into this episode with my girls. What's up?
She sounds so angelic. And of course, you can't have a stream without Lady D. Introduce yourself, girl.
Hey guys, it's Lady D, and this is the panel you already know. Like, we Mad Queens, and this episode was pretty damn good. Like, we had a Mad Queen clearly on the screen, burning things to absolute bits and pieces, and we have awesome like Professor D stuff, like runes on the freaking walls underneath Dragonstone, and like Bran doing creepy stuff to Littlefinger. I think all in all, this is a pretty interesting episode, and I'm excited to get into it.
Yes, I cannot wait to hear her thoughts on the cave, but let's just get this started. So where we want to first talk about is at Winterfell, where we got all these cool reunions, and maybe not exactly how we thought it would be, because these Stark kids are creepy as fuck. I mean, basically John Wick with a kill list. Sansa is being manipulative and always, being sneaky, always looking over her shoulders. And then you have Bran, who isn't Bran anymore, and he's just fucking creepy. So let's talk about the Stark children, and let's talk about Bran, especially how it seems as though that Bran isn't really Bran anymore. And it kind of felt like books working, like you can't be in your wolf for too long or you start to lose yourself. And it seems like Bran has probably been stuck in those trees or the memory so long that he's kind of lost himself. So let's kick it off with AK. What did you feel about the whole Bran and Meera situation at Winterfell?
While watching, as soon as he started sounding in that weird robot voice that he has now, it's like, Bran, why are you being such a dick, dude? Like, and then Meera just said everything that I was thinking. So it's just, I understand he's the three-eyed raven and he's become another person and whatnots, but I still need you to treat people that went hard for you the way they should be treated. And just saying, yeah, thanks, bye, I don't really need you, like you said, isn't the right way to go.
Yeah, I agree. It was kind of fucked up. They went through all that stuff with Hodor, Summer, Jojen, for him to, chuck the deuces and say bye. But it also seemed like even before she actually went into the room. So I'm going to kick it off to Beauty Queen. What did you think about Bran and Meera, their whole goodbye scene?
I thought it was a little heartbreaking. He was a douche, but I understood why he was a douche. With respect, I mean, it's like a person, like you've seen it in movies when a person ascends. I don't know if I'm making sense, but like in fantasy, when a person ascends to like a different, it's the only other example I could think about is Gandalf. When Gandalf goes from Gandalf the Grey to Gandalf the White, he's not himself anymore. Like any previous memories that he had of himself as Gandalf the Grey, the caring, the more he had a more human side. All of that kind of goes to the wayside, because as Gandalf the White, he's like more focused, and he just has glimpse of what he used to be as Gandalf the Grey based on conversation he has with everybody else. And I think Bran understands that now. now that he has starting to fulfill the role as the three-eyed raven, he acknowledges that, you know, he's no longer Bran Stark. He remembers being Bran Stark, but he's seen too much. He's experienced too much going through the werewood net. And I think we should expect that he shouldn't be the same Bran anymore. He has ascended to a different plane now. Astral plane, if you've seen Insidious. So he has Bran Stark memories, but he is not the Bran Stark that we know. So that's not how we should view him anymore. And I thought it was really sad because, you know, Meera is still Meera, you know, and she still is reeling from all of she has PTSD of her own. She watched her brother die. She watched Hodor die, you know, and I mean, she's watched all these people that, you know, they started off as a group and now it was just the two of them left. And she's been through so much. She's seen so much. And the one person that she shared the experience with doesn't have enough human emotion to kind of connect with her anymore. So
you made some good points actually, and I think it's suited to the title of this episode, which is Spoils of War. And we're seeing that these Stark children from I believe it's the five King War, that you see that the war has really fucked with these kids, that they are not the same lovable kids we saw in season 1, but like Arya's basically a psychopath. So we definitely see that war has changed these kids. So Timo, same question. How do you feel about the whole Meera and Bran goodbye scene and him being so cold?
Going real quick to what you said, like, just thinking about how the kids are really fucked up after like the War of Five Kings, just think like that broken man speech just like popped in my head. I'm just like, God, these kids are, even though they weren't like the soldiers, they were just as fucked up as those other men, you know? Bran, I feel like either I feel there could be many options. He could relationships and little personal connection might mean nothing to him, you know, because he's focused on something bigger. Or maybe, you know, if you believe in a time travel thing, like this means nothing to him, you know, which is really sad because that really means like we lost Bran Stark last season. Like he did die last season. Or like, is he? Huh?
Me want to watch the Door episode, and I really don't like watching that episode because it really, that whole Hodor scene kind of fucked me up, but it does make you want to go back to see like what happened in that cave again, with the idea that Bran died in there.
Exactly. Well, not just that, but remember like after he spoke with Benjen, I want to say, like, because he was kind of normal, kind of, with Benjen. And then, like, his last scene we saw, he said he had to go back to the Tower of Joy, you know, so he went to look at that vision. So I automatically think, like, remember the three-eyed raven said, if you stay too long, you will drown. So, like, that came to mind. Like, is he just completely just lost in his visions? Like, he can't control it. And I also noticed he can't really piece everything together yet. Everything is still just little flashes almost, because he doesn't know, unless he's lying, about the dagger. He doesn't know, unless he's lying, about Littlefinger, which we'll get to the dagger, I guess, later, because I have something to say about that.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about the dagger, because I think that he does know something more than he's letting on. But at the point where, well, we'll talk more into that. Lady D, tell me what you thought about Bran and Meera saying goodbye to each other.
Just Bran and Meera saying goodbye, or the whole Bran scene? Just
Bran and Meera saying goodbye to each other.
I think that similar to what you were saying, this episode is definitely all about like the spoils of war. So it's not only what was spoiled, right, but also like what was gained as a spoil, you know, as a reward, or as, you know, in this case, gold in some cases or whatever, as a spoil of the war. So I think with the Starks in this episode, we're realizing for the first time that Bran Stark is a casualty of war. His innocence was spoiled, definitely, but he's a casualty of war. He's basically dead now. He's not himself. But the spoil, the prize that Bran came out with was the fact that he now has like the gift of foresight, right? And we see that when he looks towards that door and already knows that Meera's coming to say goodbye. And I think that the scene between him and Meera was necessary for us, because I think when you look back, it's like, well, what does this add to the story? Like, maybe we'll see Meera, maybe we won't later on, but what does this really add to the story? I think what it was really trying to drive home for us is that Bran is not Bran anymore. You know, that he's like the culmination of all of these memories and feelings and lifetimes of all these other green seers, and it hits Meera at the same time that it hits us. Well, wait a minute, you are really not you. You're gone. Like, you died in that cave. Like, when she was pulling you behind her and Hodor was holding that door, yo, you were dying. You were dying and you died. And I think that's what hit me the hardest about their farewell. Like, wait a minute, Bran Stark actually was a casualty of this war, even though he does have the spoil now of having the gift of foresight and being extremely powerful. When she was saying, you know, my brother died for you, Hodor died for you, Summer died for you, I almost died for you. And he really wasn't able to connect for that. It was almost like, yeah, you know, that's kind of how Jojen was too, to a certain point. He kind of realized, he was like, honestly, the only important thing is Bran. Like, we're all pieces, we're all pawns, and the important thing is you. So I think it's interesting seeing Bran reach that state. And I think it has to be like a complete Jedi mind flip for Meera to have lost her brother when her brother's entire focus is Bran, and now you're losing Bran. You know, they've been together for what, like 5-6 years at this point. You know, you basically grew up with this person and spent a large portion of your life protecting them, and now you just realize, you know, you got them someplace safe, but you didn't. They're dead. You just realized, I did all of this and he's dead. I didn't even save him.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. Y'all are making some really good points. I think the whole point, you guys, the whole point is to drive home that Bran is not really Bran anymore. And then I guess when you kind of have to take your feelings out of a situation, step back and look, like, it's like such a tiny part of this whole war thing that it seems like he's dismissive. But when you have all of these memories and stuff, that seems so minor when you've seen things that happened 20, 40, 80 years ago, and then you're having this one conversation where it's like, I understand what you're going through, but and that still living has been possibly in the same position as you when it comes to losing people because of war. So it's really messed up. But moving forward, let's also talk about Bran and Littlefinger, because Littlefinger gave Bran the dagger that basically was supposed to be used to kill him. And the fact that when Bran sees it, he doesn't recognize it, but he asked Littlefinger one question. He says, do you know who this belongs to? And he lied to him. And I think Bran caught him in the lie. As soon as Littlefinger was giving him the dagger, he seemed like he was kind of out of it, and he was looking at it and he was moving it around, and it kind of felt like he was trying to get a vision of, where did this dagger come from? Like, why is this so important? And he's flipping through it, and then when Littlefinger says chaos, it's like it clicked, and all of a sudden he saw that vision. And then, of course, it goes from that scene we all know from season 1, where he was talking to Varys about chaos is a ladder. But the interesting, and you guys definitely should check out that clip when they say chaos is a ladder, because before he even says it, he does talk about how he played Sansa, and he told on her so that the Lancers could marry her, because she was going to leave for to try to get with the Tyrells. And I don't think that Sansa knows that, but it's interesting that a lot of Littlefinger's, like, his dirty work is starting to come back on him. And it's cool that the Starks are the ones that are kind of bringing this into thought, I should say. So let me start off with Beauty Queen, because you look like you got something good to say. I can feel it. So let's start off with you as far as the whole Bran and Littlefinger and him playing around. I can see that mind just moving around, girl.
I totally agree with where you were going with respect to the dagger situation, because the way that he was manipulating the dagger, the way he was touching it and feeling on it, it's I agree, it almost seems like he was channeling something of the dagger. And why? And he asked a very specific question, right? And then Littlefinger goes on this makes this long monologue about how he, you know what I mean, he's here to protect Catelyn's children, how he's, you know, he couldn't find the dagger that cut his mother's throat. If he could, he would have stopped it himself. Blase, blase. Oh, Bran, you've been through, you know, this dagger is what started the War of the Five Kings. Like, he's pretty much telling Bran, he's filling in some gaps for Bran without him. I don't even think he realizes that's what he's doing, because I don't think he understands that Bran is an ascended being. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't,
he's underestimating him, thinking he's talking to a little kid when really he's talking to an old ass tree man.
I think that's what's going to be his undoing, because he's underestimating the Stark children. The Stark children have had way too many experiences that have kind of given them, that have elevated their senses. You understand what I'm saying? So they're not going to be easily manipulated. You can't come and, you know, say pretty words to them and think that they're going to fall for it. They've been through too much, especially Bran and Arya. And so I really love that scene between him and Littlefinger, because I personally believe that Bran knows a lot more than what he's letting on, but he's being, I think he's being methodical about what information he reveals and what he doesn't reveal. Like when he just spit out chaos as a ladder, I don't know if he did that to kind of shut Littlefinger down, because he saw Littlefinger getting ready to go off on a tirade, because he didn't even let Littlefinger finish his sentence before he blurted that out. Like,
that is true.
He didn't let him say anything else after that. As soon as he said, you come back to chaos and blah, blah, he said, chaos is a ladder.
Yeah, Littlefinger was shook on that.
Yeah.
He looked like he was about to piss himself. Like, how the fuck do you know that?
So I think Bran is gonna be like a very key figure in a lot of revelations. And I think, I do believe he knows more about the dagger than he is letting on. And he's not revealing it, maybe because he feels that it's not time to reveal it. Like it's almost like he's taking on the lesson of what Bloodraven told him in the beginning about, you know, when he's navigating and learning things, is basically you can't always reveal things. You can't reveal too much at one time. There has to be a strategy to your revelation. But I think when he said that to Littlefinger, it's like putting Littlefinger on. It put Littlefinger on notice. Like, look, I'm not the one to mess with. And I also like the fact when he went to call Bran Lord Stark, Bran was like, I'm not Lord Stark. You got me with the wrong title, bro.
I definitely agree with you on that. So, Timo, what did you think about Littlefinger and Bran's conversation?
First of all, that chaos is a ladder line. I'm not gonna lie, that had me kind of shook when you first said it. But going back to like what you guys were saying, like you just need to have it, like he was touching the dagger. You said when he was kind of thinking, you know, like maybe he's having visions or trigger. Do you think that maybe like contact with people or things brings on these visions and stuff? Because you know, like after he hugs Sansa, like he blurted out something. After he hugged Arya, he blurted out something. You know, like maybe that has something to do with it. But I think with the dagger, when they were in the Godswood, again with all those crows crawling in the background, when they were in the Godswood and Arya, he blurred out the vision about Arya and her list. Like, I don't think it's a coincidence that he gave her the dagger like right after talking about her kill people list, you know? So I think that's going to come back. As far as anything else, I think that you touched on Yeah, mostly everything. I just think that was him giving her dagger right after talking about her kill list.
Yeah, I definitely think that Bran was like calling BS on that when he started talking about helping, being here at the right time to help Catelyn. It's like he lies, but then he sprinkles truth in it, and he does it really well without like flinching or anything. So AK, same question. How do you? No, didn't I already hit you up, AK? B.
About Bran and Littlefinger? No.
Oh, go ahead, girl, because I know B's gonna say a lot. So go ahead.
But no, actually, B, go ahead first.
Oh, well, B, let us hear it. What do you think about the whole Bran and Littlefinger conversation about the dagger?
You're gonna be like, no, it was your turn, and I am gonna be long-winded because I got a lot of crap to say about him. I would try to be short. That right there.
So I did call that. Continue.
I'm just saying. I'm telling you right now, AK. That right there. That okay. Me and the Boo Bear had to rewind several times to go back and look at that. I encourage you all to go back in that scene and look at Littlefinger's face. And I also encourage you guys to go back to that scene and look at how Bran is examining that dagger and how he's touching it. Okay, so there's a few things just want to throw out, right? One, Littlefinger sitting down, talking to Bran. Oh, yes, you know, it's so sad, everything else. I would have stopped the other dagger with my own heart, even though technically you probably had some hand in it. Let's be serious. You knew what was going on with Tywin. Like, that's just, so that's one lie. The second one, this dagger was given, you know, this was the cat's paw's dagger. It meant to take your life. Do you know who it belongs to? No, I don't. Lie number 2. All right. Next thing, he's like, oh yeah, you must have been so upset to come back home and hear about all of this chaos. And then Bran finally hits him on lie number 3 on like, oh, you trying to work me? I got you. Boom. Chaos is a ladder. And you look at Littlefinger's face and he's like, crap, what did you just say? Because I think at that point he realized, 1, chaos is a ladder. Bran saw you sell Sansa, basically. 1. 2, do you know who this belongs to, who this dagger belongs to? You're lying about knowing who it belongs to, but not only that, let's look at the word belongs. Who's the last person that had possession of this dagger? It was Ned. And how the hell did you get that dagger? How did you get Ned's dagger? It was in the Tower of the Hand on top of the book. Where'd you get it from? So I think at that point, like the reason why Littlefinger is looking at that, because it all hits him too, like, whoa, he knows. And I felt when we were looking at it that Littlefinger being Littlefinger, you guys don't expect him to just go up to Bran and start talking to him out of nowhere, right? You know, he's been listening in and around in the castle about what people are saying. And it doesn't look like it's a secret. It looks like it is well known and widely believed that Bran has visions. Arya came home. Sansa was like, all right, look, man, Bran be having visions. They're next to the tree. She's like, look, dude has visions. Go ahead, T.
I was saying she did have looking at each other. She's like, and Bran's home, but he ain't really Bran anymore. Like, I definitely agree with you.
Like everybody knows, like it's not some like little secretive thing. So I would think that if Littlefinger is hearing that, it's Littlefinger. He's gonna go and try to test it out in the sea. Well, does he really have visions? And what can he see? And I think he was just playing with fire and didn't realize what he was playing with or who he was playing with. He thought Bran was Miss Cleo or somebody looking at some tarot cards. Didn't know he was about to read him like all 6 books. Like he's on it. And I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see how that dynamic plays out, because Littlefinger is definitely going to die. But it's like Bran marked him almost. Like, I see you. I know what you're doing. And it's not going to end well for you. So I enjoyed the scene.
AK?
I don't really have anything else to add to that. I thought it was spectacular, and the professor has put all the words into that need to be put in.
Won't she do it every time, y'all? But definitely there's a lot to be said when it comes to Bran and Littlefinger's conversation. But I want to move on to Arya because we got Arya finally coming home to Winterfell, as crazy as she is, and we see that she's having trouble getting into Winterfell. It's kind of like how it was in season 1 with King's Landing when she was trying to get back in. She says, my father is going to, beat you basically if you don't let me in. She kind of threw that back at their face at Winterfell. And I did like the idea that Sansa knew where she was at. It seems like no matter what these Stark kids are going through, it seems like the crypt seems to center them. And the conversation that Sansa and Arya are having in this crypt, I love this scene. Is more, it seemed like they finally accepted each other for who they are instead of always being upset that one is just too girly and always wants to be the perfect lady, and then another one who doesn't even fit the ideas of what, a traditional lady. So I like the fact that even though they were clashing, and it still seemed like they were clashing, it's not like, oh, we're just so happy each other is here, but more of a understanding that Arya isn't going to be this lady, and even Arya realizing that Sansa is just this is what she was meant to do. And then I like the fact that Cersei and I'm just going to throw this out there. Cersei kind of bonded these two girls because they were kind of distanced toward each other, and every right so, because they don't know how the others changed throughout these years. So the fact that Cersei is being brought up and this is my kill list, and Sansa's smiling at it, like she's really enjoying the fact that Arya's home, and that even though Arya is different, it seems like Sansa is accepting her, but she's also trying to figure her out as well. So, AK, because you didn't say much on the last one, what did you think of the Sansa Arya reunion in the crypts?
I thought it was super sweet. Like in the very first part, Sansa ran up and initiated the hug, and Arya hugged her, but Arya was still Arya. It almost to me seemed like she didn't want to let herself feel that happiness just yet. Like she's still doubting something else could happen and rip it all away. So she's still falling back a little bit. But then, they conversate, and before they leave the crypts, you see Arya jump in and holds her sister because she definitely has missed her. She's missed being home, and I think that was very important for them to show Arya coming out a little bit like that. Are we going like all the way in with their scenes, or are we going to save the Godswood for later?
No, right now I just want to hear your thoughts on Arya and Sansa in the crypts.
Okay, yeah, that was it then. I thought it was a really sweet scene. I'm kind of debating what everybody's issues is with the statue, though. I think the guy did a good job in making that a likeness of Ned, but whatever.
You gotta deal with what you got, but I can understand that this is their home, and the fact that they couldn't even get Ned, who was like this big figure in the North for so long, that they all loved him. That it is kind of bittersweet they didn't get his facial features right. But another thing that I did enjoy the scenes in the crypt is that you see this Arya is kind of distanced at first, but when they drop Jon's name in, and she kind of opens up, and then she ends up hugging Sansa, because at first she didn't. It was kind of like how the reunion was with Bran, where Sansa seems like she really her brother and sister and shows that emotion, and you see like Bran and Arya still have like that stone face because they can't really show you their emotions at this point. But then when you hear Jon's name, she lightens up, and then that's when she starts to hug Sansa towards the end. So Timo, what did you think about Sansa and Arya's conversation in the crypts?
First, am I breaking up?
You're breaking up a little bit. Try it again.
Saying Sansa's a bitch. Salty Sansa. Can you hear me?
You're breaking up, and it might be Sansa that's cutting off your connection right now. She be talking shit,
All
but
right,
try to exit
put,
out and then
yeah.
come back, and then I promise you, you can just let Sansa have it.
All right.
I'm fair on this channel. We control them all, everyone. So, Lady D, I'm curious to what you have to say about Sansa and Arya's conversation in the crypts.
All right, my bad. I was trying to switch the headphones. I'm gonna be honest with you. I hate Sansa, and I know everybody's like, "Oh, it was a touching reunion." No, the hell it wasn't. She came down there, and no one who was Arya didn't even look at her. She knew it was her by the fall of her steps and the fact that Sansa has the keys to the castle clanking on her everywhere that she goes. Go back and watch the clip. The first thing she do is turn and look at this broad and say, "So I gotta call you Lady Stark now?" And what does Sansa say? Yes. Yes, not girl, no, not whatever. When that same thing happened, when Robert and Ned met each other at Winterfell and went down in it was a hug, it was like an immediate embrace and laughter. Sansa's like, nah, yeah, you need to definitely call me Lady Stark. And so, she advances towards Arya and they have that embrace. But you see Arya / no one I feel like she's not even really fully interacting with Sansa. And I think it's because she doesn't trust her. So at that point, Arya isn't playing Arya again. Arya is playing no one. I think she's just sort of watching Sansa and seeing, okay, well, what are you going to do so I can decide how I'm going to react to you. So she looks at her and she goes, "So Jon left you in charge?" Sansa goes, "Yeah, Jon left me in charge." Arya gives her this look like, why the hell did he do that? And a part of me was trying to figure out, is she trying to figure out if Jon is married or not? And if Sansa is married to Jon? And the reason why I'm sick of hearing, I know you're like, what the hell? The reason why is because when she first got to that gate and they were like, "Oh, it's the Lady Stark," and she was like, "Which one?" Well, you would know that there should only be 2 possible Lady Starks unless one of your brothers got married, right? You know Rob and his wife are dead because you were at the Red Wedding and you're aware of the aftermath. And unless one of your other brothers got married, which they shouldn't have, because Jon is now king in the North, your sister would be the only Lady Stark unless there's someone else that he married. So when she figured out, okay, well, he didn't get married, it's Sansa in charge, I think that the next step for her in the crypts is being like, all right, so like, what is the relation with Jon then? Like, he just left you in charge? Are you like, yeah, he left me in charge. And you can see she kind of lightens up then. And then when Sansa says, yeah, he was so happy to see me, when he sees you, his heart is going to burst. You see a little bit of Arya sort of come back. We see a little bit of light. We see a little bit of happiness, things that we really haven't seen from Arya, in a few seasons, really. But it's really short-lived. It's like 15 seconds worth of that. Another interesting thing I thought about the crypts was the parallel between Arya and Visenya Targaryen. I don't know if you guys remember the story about the first Kingsguard, but Visenya was like, nah, you don't need to have people who have the right name. What you need is people who can fight and who are loyal. And she actually cut one of Aegon's guards on the cheek because she was so fast. She was fast enough to, take her sword out and cut him in the face before, any of them could reach for their swords. And she was like, yo, your guards are slow and lazy. That's what she said to them. And in this episode, Arya makes it down to the crypts where she's not supposed to be. And Sansa, instead of Aegon, instead of Rhaenys, whatever, comes up to her and is like, you shouldn't run from the guards. And she's like, I didn't run from them. You need better guards. So I thought that was really interesting because, again, going along with that that parallel or that theme of a spoil of war, yes, Arya has been corrupted. Her innocence has been spoiled. But her spoil from these wars is her power now in an armed sense, in a martial sense. Like, she's a fighter. Arya is the stone cold killer. And I think that was what was reinforced in the crypts between them. Like, this is her spoil. Arya is death.
You made really good points. I did not like when she said that, yeah, you have to call me Lady Stark. But when I saw it again, she smiled. So I wasn't sure if they were joking with each other, because Arya kind of went with it. And then later on in that scene, she says, this does suit you. But it wasn't like I'm gonna agree with you that it wasn't this touching scene at the very moment, but when she drops John's name, then she starts to it starts to slowly let go her guards down. But she definitely was on her guard. So Timo, are you back with us?
You can hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Let her have it.
Well, no, actually, I didn't hate Sansa this episode. Like, finally, there's other more interesting Starks in Winterfell now, so I'm not gonna hate on her as much. She's reuniting with all these people, and it's just killing the whole Stark music. Back in the day, the Stark music would make me tear up a little bit. Now it's just like, whatever. Come on, keep it moving. Because I don't feel any, I don't know. These reunions aren't doing it for me. I don't feel anything oh no, just like Sansa said, just waiting for Jon to reunite with them. I wonder what one of the guards had this helmet on. It reminded me of the Bolton helmets. And I'm like, did they keep any Bolton men for guards? Because I don't remember any of the Winterfell guards past having helmets that shape. It was very weird seeing Arya smile so much. She looked very psycho in a way.
Because when she smiles, she gonna kill you. She's just creepy.
Yeah, I know. It's just I know it's a good thing, but just seeing her smile, I just knew she was gonna kill those guards, but she didn't. And also with these people seeing her with Sansa, I'm trying not to let my hate come out here, but I hope her fans see that Sansa is not the only one, or she's been through the most, or poor little Sansa. You can clearly see all Starks were affected. They all went through shit. You know what I'm saying? Sansa shouldn't be some special little dove. So I hope that's what happens. Clearly, Arya, I don't know if she's really gone to Winterfell to chill, hang out, because she was there in the crypts, had, hey Sansa, whatever, automatically she's talking about her list to kill. It sounds like it's still fresh in her mind. She still has this job that she needs to do. She's just stopping by home. I don't feel like she's going to stay there and just... I think that was all for Arya. And I do like I don't know if you talked about Podrick and all that, but I do like...
No, we didn't get to that. We were just talking about just the conversation they had down in the crypts for now.
Oh, because I'm so Sansa was side-eyeing everyone. She was side-eyeing everyone this whole episode.
Yeah, I have a reason why I think she was doing all of that, but I have to agree with you. Yeah, let's real quick just shout out some people. We've got Sam in the chat. What up? Biotic. What up? Lord of Hearth. What up? Tyrion Lannister. Oh, that didn't say Lannister. What up? Cheekiest. What up? So anyway, you guys hit that thumbs up before I tell Arya your name. AK, did you talk about this or no? Beauty Queen, you look like you itching to say something. What did you think about the whole Arya and Sansa conversation in the crypts? Because usually you're really unbiased, so I'm curious.
I thought it went the way exactly that it was supposed to go. Because remember, the last time both of them saw each other, they already had a preconceived idea. So when they see each other again, the last memory they have is from a year and a half ago. So that is your only point of reference. And at the time, Sansa they had a conversation. I believe there was an earlier conversation where Sansa told her that she was going to have to call her my queen. They had this whole back and forth back when they were kids. And I think when Arya said that, that was just a callback to that moment. I don't think there was anything malicious about it because, like you said, Sansa did smirk. So I don't think Sansa was really being serious. I think Sansa was genuinely happy because I think the experiences that Sansa has had up until this point, I think she understands what really matters now, because before she didn't really appreciate her sister. She didn't really appreciate her brother the way that she should have. And I think the experience of losing everybody and being out on her own and having to and her being manipulated by everybody else, kind of given her perspective, if that's a good word to use. She has better perspective of her siblings that she didn't have before. And this is just my own personal opinion, I think she was genuinely happy to see Arya. But it was awkward because they don't know how to take each other. They haven't seen each other since they were like little kids in King's Landing. That was the last time that they saw each other. And I believe the last time they saw each other, they weren't on good terms. And so, and also remember, Arya already had a preconceived idea of Sansa, and Sansa has a preconceived idea of Arya. And so you don't really know how to approach the other person, even though they're your sibling, because you've been away from them for so long. So it's normal for there to be a moment of awkwardness. I think that scene played out perfectly because they were supposed to be awkward. Because if they were to run into each other's arm and act like everything was good, I would have thought that was off. That wouldn't have made any sense to me, because these two were like oil and water for so long. Even though they may have had moments where they were sisterly, but they were mostly oil and water for a very long time, because they're polar opposites. Like Ned said, they're like the sun and the moon. So I thought that scene was well done. I really liked the way that after they got over that initial moment of awkwardness, I think they both kind of accepted where they are. I like Arya's maturity and how she is responding and speaking with Sansa. I appreciate Sansa's openness and acceptance in her response to Arya. I like the way that they look at their father's face, and Arya makes the comment that he doesn't even look like himself. And when Sansa says, everybody that knew what he looked like died, and she says, but we're not, you know what I mean? And I think that was the initiation of some sort of a reconnection for them, because that was something that they did not share before. Mostly, my personal opinion, again, mostly because of Sansa, because at the time she was just going through her preteen BS. But I think now that she understands what's really important, that family is really important, I think it's I think that scene played out exceptionally well. I do see some I don't know, a part of me believe that that the crypts is tied to all of the Stark children in some respect. I don't know how it's going to tie in for Arya and Sansa specifically, but something inside of me, when they were in the crypt and they were having that conversation, leads me to believe that that they are both tied to something within the crypts. But I don't know what that is. I could be wrong, but again, it just seemed like all the Stark children gravitate towards the crypts for some reason, because there is a very strong connection for them inside of the crypts. So I think that there might be something for them. I don't know whether it's some sort of revelation or something, whatever it may be. And I don't know if that's gonna come through Bran or if it's gonna come through Jon, whoever that is. I don't know, but again, I thought that scene was very well done. I love the awkwardness. I like the way that it played out. Yes, Arya is kind of creepy, but I think her being home I still think, even though she's no one, and I still think that even though she has moments of flipping back and forth, that she is still, you know, she's still somebody that longed for home, and she is finally home. And you know, when you haven't been home in so long, it's like you feel at home, but you don't feel at home because you haven't been there, and there's like all these new faces here that weren't here when you left, and so it's gonna take time for you to adjust. But I'm sure there's gonna be periods of adjustment for her as a person, especially after everything that she's been through. And that's all I got to say.
I loved how you put all that into perspective. AK, I think you wanted to throw in 2 more cents on this.
Yeah, actually, I just put it in the chat. Tiny little tidbit, like when the guards were talking to Sansa and they were saying, you know, we told her to sit still, but she ran off somewhere. It's just some Wintertown girl. Sansa like immediately clicked and she smiled before like even addressing them and telling them to, you know, shut up. I know where she is. I'll go get her. Don't worry about it. I thought that was cute. Yeah. I still can't stand Sansa, but I thought that was cute.
Yeah, I enjoyed that too as well. But speaking of, I don't want to focus too much on Sansa right now, but I still want to focus on Arya. We have to talk about Arya and Brienne fighting each other. Of this scene was hands down the best fight scene that I've seen on the show so far. The way that Arya was getting the best of Brienne. At first, you can clearly see that she was not fighting Arya as aggressively as she fought Podrick. But then as she sees that Arya is skilled, she really starts to try to give Arya some go. And I love at the very end, Arya does this thing where she switches the knife right before Brienne grabs her hand. And then it looks like she got the best of her. The fight scene was amazing. And then you saw Littlefinger and Sansa looking down, and I think Sansa starts to put, you know, pieces together that Arya is not just her little sister, but she's actually, you know, growing up, and that she's for real. Like, this kill list is serious. Like, it's not like, oh, you know, this is just a list of people I want dead. I mean, we probably all have that list, but Arya actually will kill you. There's a big difference. I really enjoyed that she's connecting the dots. She looks a little nervous, and I'm not sure what Brienne said to Arya, or I think it was when Arya said something like, you want to protect both our mothers, daughters, something like that. And Sansa looks, Littlefinger looks at her like, bitch, you didn't tell me about that. So I don't know if she got caught in a lie and Littlefinger caught it, but they're doing this thing where every time it seems like Littlefinger's antennas peak up or something's going on, that he smirks or he tilts his head. But another thing that goes back to the conversation about Bran is that I think he fucked up when he gave him that dagger, because now you hear like little ravens when Littlefinger's around. And for me, that seems like Bran's watching your ass now, because you made it seem like something's up and I need to know more about you. So I think he really fucked up on that. But I'm really curious about what you guys thought of the whole fight scene. I'm going to start off with AK. What did you think about the fight scene with Brienne and Arya?
Arya, the motherfucking ninja badass, man. I just y'all know Arya's my girl, so I can't say enough about that damn scene. Her moves, what she basically became everything that Syrio Forel wanted her to be. Like how fluid her movements were, you know, i.e. water dancing. It was absolutely brilliant. The little kick move that she took from Brienne, and then, you know, that flip that she did up. She was a bit too flashy. I'll say that. She was a little bit too flashy. She was showing off a little bit, but I understood. I'll give her a pass on that, because Brienne was not going in like she should have been, and she needed to get Brienne there so she could actually train. Like she said, it's been a while since she trained. So no, I don't want some random person I don't know in my castle. I want you, because I saw you fuck up the Hound, and that's not something that anybody can claim outside of the Mountain. So I'm going to go with you, because you're the best in here right now. And I got skills. Let me show you, but I think you can still help me sharpen them up. That's what I took from it. And that dagger switch move, that made me think of that scene where Black Widow was fighting the Winter Soldier in Civil War. And I doubt the choreographer thought about it, but the Winter Soldier and Arya's using his moves. It's kind of cool.
And he ain't gonna do shit if Arya uses the moves. What he gonna do? Arya will fucking kill you. But I'm curious. So, Beauty Queen, what did you think of the? Because I know you're not into like really it's not that gruesome. It's just ladies fighting in the yard. But what did you think about that? The whole fight scene with Arya and Brienne.
I enjoyed that scene. I enjoyed. I thought it was well done. I love like AK said, I love the choreography. Arya moved beautifully against Brienne, because Brienne is like this big person, and she's small, so she's more stealth. I mean, she's not as heavy as Brienne is, but Brienne was still able to overpower her in a couple of moves. With brute force, but Arya was still able to come back again because of the fact that she's a little bit more fluid. And I think they both enjoyed it. I think Brienne enjoyed it, and I think Arya enjoyed it. I think they both started to have some fun. And you could see it the way that they ended, because their ending is the same way that Syrio and her ended, like when he was teaching her how to dance. How to fight. It gave me a call back to that, the way that they ended their sparring. So, and they both looked like they had a good time. And my biggest takeaway, I know that's kind of weird, but my biggest takeaway from that whole entire scene was the way that she looked at Littlefinger afterwards.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that look that she gave to Littlefinger, like when Littlefinger was looking at her and she started to look at Littlefinger. Because first Brienne looked at Littlefinger, and then she looked up, and Littlefinger tried to do his bowing move, but she just looked at him like.
I recognize their face.
Yeah, like she has that. Her face got real. I don't know if it's serious, but like I'm watching you type of face.
Yeah, it seemed like she was piecing something together. Like, I know she knows that Littlefinger was in King's Landing, but she also saw Littlefinger with Tywin and Harrenhal. And I'm thinking, she's thinking like, where did I last see you? It wasn't at King's Landing. And so it looked like she's slowly figuring it out. Maybe she doesn't know. You know how like when you like, I can't remember why I know you, but I know you.
I forgot to mention that part.
But it seemed like she's starting to slowly remember, and of course, what did the Starks say? They remember shit. No, they don't. They say winter's coming. The North remembers. That's what they say. Yeah. See, mine just be all over the place. But I mean, like, the Stark kids are starting to remember and put pieces together, and I think that's going to be Littlefinger's downfall. But is B? Are you back yet? She might not be back, y'all. So, Timo, did you say speak on the whole Arya and I'm forgetting her girl's name. Talk about it.
I really enjoyed that scene on the second watch. The first watch, I was like, oh, come on, this is kind of corny, like, But the second watch, I enjoyed it, partly because of, yes, Sansa, surprisingly, like, that eye roll she did, because she was side-eyeing everyone, because Bran clearly likes Arya better. So he actually hugged Arya back. And then now, like, she finds out Brienne was supposed to protect both of them. I don't know if it's just my headcanon, but I thought like she was just like, oh, I thought you just to protect me, So I just got a little enjoyment out of like Sansa being jealous. Also, as far as the choreography, it was really nice. I think Arya kind of incorporated multiple saw, like, of course, Sirio, but I also saw some of, like, hound techniques in there. You know, like, I saw, like, a little bit, like, she learned a little bit from everyone and kind of, like, now, I don't know if the Faceless Man, what are you going to say?
I was going to say she kind of, like, mashed everything together and made her own style. And
yeah, like
as a result, I think she has her own theme song now.
I know, right? Yeah, she has her own theme song. Now, I want to know, like, does she have magic from the Faceless Men, or is that just strictly like her fighting ability? You know what I mean? Is that just from training?
I think. No, I think as far as her fighting technique is from her being trained, because she was being trained at the House of Black and White. She was being trained all through her trip down to King's Landing back. Like Arya, throughout the whole series, we've seen her training to fight. And so it was interesting you picked up that she seems like she's mashing all these techniques that she's learned throughout her journey. But I think the Faceless Man is her ability to change her face. I think that's the magical element. But as far as her fighting style, I think that's just because she's been training since King's Landing.
Well, there's a little bit of Faceless Men. Remember when the wave was hitting her and she had to like jump up when she was blind? She jumped up similar to how this episode is. So yeah, it's like she just mashed in everything.
Now she done got pretty with it.
Huh?
And I love it. I love fighting crazy Arya. One thing, and I will give you guys this advice: never fight someone that smiles while they're fighting. It's a lose-lose situation. Arya looks creepy as fuck, but Lady D is back, so I'm very curious to what you thought of your girl Arya, her fighting techniques, and the whole Arya Brienne situation. It's okay, we don't bite.
If you're talking, B, we can't hear you.
Oh, bless her heart. Well, I think we might be having technical difficulties. So B, exit out and then join back in, and then we'll pick up to your thoughts on Arya and Brienne fighting, because we can't hear you right now. Okay. Thumbs up. Is that cool?
Word.
Cool. All right, so just exit out and come back in. But let's just wrap up the whole reunion at Winterfell, where all three Starks are at the tree. They're talking about Littlefinger, this gift, and it goes back to this dagger where once again, Bran's like kind of messing with this dagger as if he's already seen the future for this, and he's like hesitant at first to give Arya the dagger, and that made me pause and be like, oh no, this does not look right, because he looks like he knows something, but once again he can't say. It's about what you guys have to say about the whole Starks being reunited, talking about Littlefinger. And I'm also curious, do you guys think that the Starks in general will be his downfall? So, B.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, okay. So before we go into that, let's talk about we want to hear your thoughts on Arya fighting Brienne, the whole style and everything. I know you enjoyed it.
I loved it. I love Arya. I love me some Arya. So first off, setting the scene, you see my girl rolling in there. She's not even in Stark colors. Like, did anybody peep that she wasn't in Stark colors? She had on like a dark green skirt thing going on. It was like brownish red up here. So she just looked like no one. And she walked in there, into the fighting yard, and she approaches Brienne, and I love it because it's almost like a Jinx moment, right? Like she's watching Podrick fail, and Brienne's obviously having a great time at, spanking Podrick, and they say the same thing almost at the same time. And don't fight someone like her in the first place. Like, you large man, do not fight someone who is like Brienne in the first place. And here comes Arya walking up like, I'm gonna fight her in the first place though. And tells her, I want you because you beat the Hound, everybody else didn't. I really love the moments in between them where it was kind of like you know, where you see people who like are enthused about something, whether it's guns or bikes or whatever. She's like, nice sword. Oh, even nice dagger. Let me see that. So it was like very cool because it was like a brothers in arms moment, but it wasn't brothers. It's like it's women, and one's a very, all to be fair, she's very young. Arya's supposed to be like a teenager. So I thought that was really cool. When we get down to the fighting, Arya is clearly a Bravo. I think the flashiness that we're seeing, that's definitely, that's Bravos all day. She's water dancing. Timo, to agree with you with the House of the Black and White. I remember when they were fighting with those staffs and how she was, basically having to duck or lean back or whatever she needs to do to sort of dodge the staff, the jump she did with Brienne. Brienne went across with the sword and she was like, what? Back bend, yoga. Like, I don't have any bones in my back. It was amazing. I loved it. And if you look at it, how many times did Arya touch Brienne? She must have killed the child half a dozen times. Like, she really did. She got her on the leg. She got her on the arm. She dang near got her in the neck. Like, she was just hitting her. The very first thing that she did, she just straight just parried right off her like it wasn't anything. And I think that's amazing, because if Brienne can beat the Hound in single combat, and I get it, he was kind of sick, and Jaime with both hands, and I get it, he was kind of weak, but if Brienne can beat them, she had a little more trouble with the Hound, but she kind of beat Jaime pretty easily, y'all, just throwing it out there. If Brienne can do that, then that means that Arya could give the Hound and Jaime a run for their money. I'm just putting it out there. Arya Stark is now undeniably at a level of fighting where she can give just about anybody in the Seven Kingdoms a run for their money. Like, anybody could get it at this point. She can beat the damn Hound, basically. I thought that was awesome. Also, something that I noticed is that the pauses, there were 3 pauses. There was one at the beginning when she did the tap, 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 and had the sword at Brienne, and Brienne's looking like, okay, all right. The next time is when Brienne like blocked her, something that Arya was trying to do, and Brienne blocked her, and Arya kind of stumbled back a little bit, and Brienne's looking like, okay, all right. Then the next time Arya came at her, and Brienne's like, hold on, young buck, pop, gotta throw the kick out there. You need to hold on, back up here. And when she did that, you could see her in her face, oh crap, I just kicked, freaking Stark daughter. Like, just freaking kicked Arya Stark. And you see that, like, sort of show up on her face, like, is she all right? And then, Arya being Arya does the awesome ninja kick thing up from the ground. And, she's right back at it. And that's when the fun really begins. And I do see the Hound, Timo. I see the Hound. And she's doing those longer sword hits. But the problem here is that she has a Bravo's blade. So it's just fast. But she does it where she reaches all the way up and comes back down. Everything. I see her leaning. You see the serial Pharrell all day, because it's just pretty, baby. She's dancing around. But I really enjoyed the scene. I thought it was great. Let's get to the meat of the scene. I hate Sansa. I'm starting this part with I hate Sansa, because I do. I get it, y'all. She was happy to see Arya. She da-da-da-da. Y'all keep trusting Sansa if you want to. That chick is gonna bite everybody in the butt. I don't trust her. I don't trust her. Your little sister is on the ground fighting with someone who beat the Hound in single combat, fighting with someone who beat Jaime Lannister basically in single combat, and she is fighting them. And we're not talking tourney swords, boo-boo. Like, look what they had. These are active weapons here. Somebody could have got hurt. Not only do you not stop it, but you sit there and wait to watch. How is it going to play out? And then when your sister whoops your sworn sword's ass, you don't say, okay, good job. Oh, damn, how you do that? Clap, nothing. You walk off because you're pissed and you're scared. And I think it's really interesting that when Arya walks up and she's like, hey, you swore to serve both Stark daughters, you can tell that Sansa sure as hell didn't tell her that, because Sansa was shook. Sansa was like, wait, how'd she know that? Forgetting that Brienne went to go look for Arya and told her herself. So it's like that look on Sansa's face, like, wait, how does she know that? My power is slipping. Oh no, I don't have a sword that's sworn just to me anymore. You can see the fear register on her face, and she looks at Littlefinger, and Littlefinger's giving her the, yep, I told you, you need your own army, not your brothers. You need people that are sworn to you. I told you. So I can already see how the writing's on the wall with that, baby. He's about to take Sansa's ear and run with it, and her little silly behind is going to run right behind Littlefinger until Arya kills him. So I see that coming up. I really think it was an all in all great scene. T, what you were saying with the ravens on the side of him, I caught that too, and I was wondering. I was like, yo, that's hilarious because it's like Arya is staring him down, and if Bran is watching this right now, which realistically he probably is, he's staring you down too. They're both just like, yeah, we watching you. Like nobody trusts you. So it all in all, I thought it was an awesome scene. Like I could watch that over and over again. I love Brienne and I love Arya. That was long.
I agree with majority of what you said. I can't see it. I know that you guys hate Sansa. I don't think she's like a person that can't be manipulative. Let's say that. But I will say that I just don't see her as being this extremely bad person that's just out to get her family. Not after all she's been through, but I definitely saw where she was side-eyeing Arya like, I underestimated you. That's what I got out of that. But Beauty Queen, you look like you had some things to say. So, or anything?
No, I just I'm just listening to what everybody else had to say. I don't necessarily agree with everybody, but it's interesting to hear everybody's viewpoint. I already said everything I needed to say for that scene.
That's cool. Did I get AK? Did you also spoke on it?
Yes.
Timo, you spoke on it. So I don't want to get into a big Sansa debate because I am trying to wrap this up at 9. But it seems as though all the Stark children do have their eyes set on Littlefinger, and we get an even better picture of that when they're at the crypt. So not the crypt, but the heart tree. So let's just wrap up this whole Stark reunion and just give me your overall thoughts on when they all met up at the tree and Bran actually gave the dagger to Arya, because it did, like I said before you left, it did seem like once again he was messing with this dagger, and he was like, you know, I'm a cripple, like what to have in. At first he seems eager to give her the dagger, but then as she's grabbing it, he's holding on to it a little bit as if he's hesitant to give it to her. So B, because we started off with you, just finish up your thoughts on the rest of the starts at the heart tree or to another scene.
Who'd you call? You call me?
Yeah.
Oh shoot. See? Alright. So
Yes, I'm with it.
The starts at the heart tree. I thought that Arya's reconnection with Bran was definitely a lot warmer than it was with Sansa's. Everybody, you hate Sansa, but it was definitely warmer and it was noted. And I have to say, Bran didn't say, Arya, I saw you at Harrenhal. Arya, you know what I'm saying? I saw you on the road to the north when the men were threatening to rape you in the butt. Arya, he didn't say none of that. He said, Arya, I saw you at the crossroads. When he saw Sansa, when he met back up with Sansa, the first thing he told that broad was, yeah, I saw you that night before you got raped in mom and dad's bedroom. Like, I just want to point that out. Oh no, Sansa's not up to no good. All right, she up to something. And I think Bran, it's definitely a warmer reception between Bran and Arya. I do note that he says he sees Arya at the crossroads. But if we think about it, Arya's been at the crossroads a few times. So I'm wondering if he's talking about, I saw you at the crossroads this last time, and I was wondering, thinking that you were going to King's Landing. I'm assuming that's probably it, but I'm not sure.
I think it's the last one.
The last one. All right. So he gives the dagger to Arya, and when he gives the dagger to Arya, again, like, there are so many people inside of him, right? I think that there's someone who has some memory of that dagger, and it may be Bloodraven page from that book that Targaryens, started to adorn their weapons with dragon glass. We also know that that it would have had to belong to someone who was extremely rich. I think it's possible that it's a Targaryen dagger. When you look at the hilt, it's got these little black stones on it. Is that dragon glass? I don't know, but I'm thinking a Valyrian steel dagger could possibly, you know, end up being belonging to a Targaryen or someone else of note. And I think that's why he was holding on to it like that. It's like he knew he needed to give it to her, especially because it has a purpose now. But whoever else is inside of him must have had some sort of, I'm thinking, connection to that dagger. Um, Additionally, what Sansa says, I noticed like she does a lot of the armored courtesy thing. I noticed in this episode where she smiles and looks down. She's doing that a lot. I don't know if that's supposed to be like what her spoil of war is. She's got the whole armor of courtesy things, but I was annoyed by her doing that. She did it a couple times at the tree. Once when she realized that hey, Arya does have a list and she is a killer, and then again I forgot what it was. I just thought that it's interesting her reaction immediately to Littlefinger giving Bran that dagger. She's not sure what to do with Arya, you know what I'm saying, but she's happy to see her. But with Bran, I think she's kind of like, all right, he was here, but he's still my crippled little brother. Like, maybe I need to, you know, like, why the hell did Littlefinger give you that dagger? And a part of me feels like when she said, you know, he's not going to give you anything unless he's expecting to get anything back. Bran looks at her, and it's funny because it's like, Broad, you don't think I know that? Like, I can see everything, but whatever. Bran looks at her, and it's like, oh, it doesn't matter. I'm giving it to Arya. To me, that translates to, okay, he gave it to me, but I'm giving to Arya. So whatever it is that he wanted to get from me, or whatever it is that he was trying to get from me, he about to get something from Arya. And since Arya is deaf, the only thing I can think of is, you know, he just basically handed Arya Littlefinger's death. So I don't want to keep going on, but I enjoyed the scene. I thought it was very pretty, all white with this heart tree. I'm wondering how long they let that boy sit out there in the snow each day, you know? But you know, as long as they're okay with it, with a three-eyed raven. So other than that, I think that scene was one of those necessary ones for us to kind of see them all coming back together, because after that it's all three, you know, and they're walking together and we see that pack form. Like there's no space in between, you know? So yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I definitely know you made amazing points. I agree with half of it. I only because I watched the episode where they kind of broke down the Arya and Sansa thing is why I'm leaning towards that she's more paying attention and picking up the pieces, that Arya's not actually fooling around. It's not a little list of, you know, of people she wants to kill, but a list she's actually killing, and that Bran kind of verifies that by saying, you know, of that list. And she's like, well, who else? No, she said, I think in the crypts, or was it at the tree? Anyway, I think I think with Sansa is that she's picking up on everything, but she doesn't have like a poker face that Bran and Arya have. But you definitely made some interesting points on that. So I want to go to Beauty Queen, your overall, the whole wrap up of the Stark reunion at the Heart Tree.
Again, I thought this was a great scene. I didn't get the impression. Again, that's just me. I didn't get the impression that Bran was any warmer to Arya than he was to Sansa, because Bran is just Bran. I mean, well, Bran is no longer Bran.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he, whether he hugged Arya and didn't hug Sansa, I don't think it really made a difference. Because he was still cold regardless. He didn't show, at least to me, he didn't show any emotion. It's not like he broke out in a smile and song about it. So I just thought that it was, you know, it was just the current Bran that we have, just acknowledging his sister, and the same way he mentions to Sansa that he saw her, I think he was also doing the same thing with Arya. And it's cool, and you're right, T. Him saying that she has the list confirms what Arya had said to Sansa. Maybe before she didn't really believe what Sansa was saying. She thought what Arya was saying. She thought Arya was joking. But when Bran mentions it, now she's like, "Yo, this is for real." Because again, remember, they haven't seen each other in a very long time, and you know, everybody's just trying to reconnect. So they really don't know each other the way that they used to anymore. So they all have a learning curve. every last one of them. So it's gonna take some time. You know, what you thought you knew about your sibling may not be what it is, because you all have had your own separate harsh experiences. So it, you know, she probably thought Arya was joking when she talked about that kill list, but now she knows that is serious, that it is actually a real thing. So I thought that whole scene played out well. I like the way that Bran kind of hands off the dagger to Arya. And he does it in such a way where he's not trying to draw too much attention, or make a big deal out of it. He just says, "Well, I'm a cripple. What use am I gonna have for it?" You know what I mean? So I like the way that he does it, but us as the viewer, knowing who Bran is and knowing how the story unfolds, always know that there's underlying meaning to what Bran is doing, and maybe he does see something that that dagger will play a role in Arya's future. I don't believe that she'll be using it on Littlefinger, because I believe Littlefinger's end is in Sansa's hand, not Arya. But that's just my own personal belief. I do believe that the way that the show is going, that a lot of things with Littlefinger is going to unfold with respect to all three of the Stark children being together, because now that they're all together, it's going to be really hard to try to manipulate them individually. I don't know if that's making any sense, but when they were all by themselves, when Sansa was by herself, it was probably a lot easier to try to manipulate her. He tried to go in and try to do it with Bran, because I don't know if he thought because Bran was a cripple or what it is, that he might be a little bit, or Bran looked real lucid, didn't look very lucid, so he thought maybe he could go in and speak a few words, and so that he could try to fill Bran out, and found out that it ain't what it seems. So, and he hasn't had a one-on-one conversation with Arya yet, and I don't know if the show is going to show that. So I think it's going to be hard for him. Whatever schemes that he may have going on, it's probably going to be a little bit harder for him to do that. But I thought that whole entire scene with it was awkward. That whole entire scene was awkward, and I appreciated that it was awkward. I would have thought something would have been wrong if they were all together, just smiling and happy-go-lucky, like they're picking up from where they left off after all of the things that they've experienced with, separately. It should have been awkward. Nothing should have just been natural about it, because they haven't been in each other's lives for like over a year. So I really like the way that whole scene played out, and I think now all of them are starting to understand where each other stands. Like now, Bran and Sansa understand that Arya has a kill list, and she has a mission. I think now Sansa and Arya understand that Bran has visions, and their brother is not really their brother in the natural sense. And I think Arya and Bran understand that Sansa is not the same, brat that she used to be. But I think there's still a lot of things that they need to figure out with respect to Sansa, because again, now that she is the Lady of Winter, the Lady of Lady Stark, she has a lot of responsibilities. It's kind of like a callback to when Bran made the comment about Robb, when he was the Lord of Winterfell, he wasn't his brother because he was too busy being the Lord. And I think that there's going to be a level where Sansa is going to be seen as this, authoritarian figure, because, she has a huge responsibility of making sure that the North is prepared for the upcoming winter. And so she's probably not going to have time to be very sisterly. So again, I'll leave it at that, but I thought that whole scene was great.
You said it better than me, to be honest with you. Timo, any thoughts on the whole Stark reunion at the tree? Because I want to make sure I give time for your golden dumbass.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add. Like, Sansa didn't seem like she believed him when she said he has visions. I don't know, just her facial reactions all episode just told a lot more. But that's all.
She did have the stank face the whole entire episode. I will agree with you guys on that. So, AK, I think you talked about AK, did you talk about the?
No, not yet. I did not.
Let's hear it, lady. I want to know what your thoughts are surrounding the Stark children and the whole dagger. And I'm curious your thoughts about how they're going to handle Littlefinger now that it seems like the Stark kids are starting to.
Now that the pack is mostly back together, I don't think Littlefinger has too much of a chance to last past anything. And I think his looks when, Bran came with him with the Chaos is a Ladder, and now that he's seen Arya is back and Arya has grown from the last time he put eyes on her, she's not that little girl just trying to hide and make it through anymore. She is out here like, bitch, I see you. I know who you are. And the second that I remember the last time I saw you, it's gonna be some things. I do agree with Manaro though. I don't think that it'll be Arya that ends up killing him. She's going to want to. And I think that's probably going to be an argument that her and Sansa has. She's going to want to, but I think Sansa may actually be the one to go in and do it on the sly. The person that gives a sentence has to swing the sword. And I think Sansa is going to actually maybe step into being a Stark now, and she's going to handle that. The round table with them I thought was awesome. Bran's being Professor X, and I think he definitely knows more about the dagger than he's telling us right now. Hopefully we get to see that. I don't know with how much more we still have to cover in this season and with next season. We may not get to all of that, but I'm hoping that we do see a few little tidbits. I can't say too much more on it really that you guys haven't already said. So I'll just leave it at that. It was a good scene. I enjoyed it.
Can I just
go ahead,
interject? Yeah, just one quick thing. I hope to God, old gods and new, that Sansa is the one that kills Littlefinger. Like, if she has anyone kill him for her or somebody else does it for her, like, respect I have for her, which is non-existent, but it will be like, my hate will be tenfold. Okay. And I'm done. No more Sansa hate.
T, where we going next? T? Damn it, did Arya fuck around and go get T too?
Did we lose her?
Y'all, I'm being a complete fool fucking Jamie because I was talking and realized, Mike, when you're talking about Lannister too long, you start to become a dumbass. Anyway, we're not going to talk about Missandei and Dany because I think we all kind of found is like, yeah, and we're not really going to talk about Theon and Jon because, again,
fuck Theon.
Get into the meat of this episode, and we've already talked a lot about the Stark reunion, but I wanted to really talk about them, so that's why we stayed on it for a long time. But moving on, Dragonstone, a lot's going down. We saw the cave. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, when I was talking to the ladies earlier and I was saying how when they were going into the cave and stuff, the music got weird and I started thinking of Jurassic Park. I might be solo dolo on that, but it made me think of Jurassic Park, but I love the cave scene. I was a complete perv because I thought, you know, we was probably going to get another Lord's kiss because you know how John is when he get into the caves with the ladies. But no, we got something better. We got the in the cave and the White Walker drawings, and I loved it. I love the cave. I love the creepy stuff in Westeros and the, you know, magical element. That's why Bran's one of my favorite characters. But I'm really curious what you guys think of the whole like cave, the drawings and stuff. And a lot of the things that I noticed is that that spiral type of we've seen that a few times. We've seen it with the first episode of Game of Thrones. We saw it at the the first minute. We saw it with Bran's vision with the children of the forest. I'm curious, is the symbol like part of their like magic or something, or spells, and that's why we keep seeing it everywhere? I know that Lady D is going to have a lot to say about this, so I'm going to say the best for last when it comes to that. Timo, let's start with you. What did you think of the whole cave scene? Let's talk about Dany and Jon's relationship. Let's just knock this out so we can really talk about what we all really truly enjoyed, which is that battle scene. Also, just to quickly throw it out there, that Dany's acting more like Stannis each episode that we get into. I'm like, you sound so much like Stannis. It's disgusting. And the fact that I find it weird that she's going about her tactic as far as getting people on her side differently, because in Essos, you know, she did something for these people and they liberated her as their leader. Yet you go to Westeros, you have not done anything for anybody, and you expect them all to bend the knee to the point where you see Jon's actually being vulnerable in the cave, and she uses that. And I will admit, this feels like a full Sansa type of move, but she used that and was like, well, I'm going to use you caring for your people to get you still to bend the knee. And I was just, she had me up until she said, until you bend the knee. And it's like, well, you're just like Spanish. You don't really deserve to rule. It goes back to that conversation that, you know, you're only ruling because you have the right name and you have the right bloodline, but you have not done anything for no one in Westeros. So the fact that you keep wanting everyone to bend the knee, but you were so quick to give the Greyjoys their kingdom, just blows my mind. But anyway, just let me have all your thoughts on the Dragonstone cave scene, Dany, and that. Let's just wrap the Dragonstone up. So Timo, you first.
Dany is truly a cunt. She in this, it's mine by rights. She is literally just another Stannis, but worse, because she is technically like an invader. She's never even lived in Westeros, and she comes over there and expects everybody to bend the knee. She says with bright eyes, "Oh, Jon, I believe you." And then she says, "I will fight. I will help you fight for the North." No, bitch. You're supposed to fight for the living. She like totally missed the point of the whole thing. It's not. Let me calm down. Dany, she is almost at a Sansa level. This whole bend the knee crap is getting extremely old. Whiny little brat. You know, she's gotten everything handed to her, and she expects everybody to just come over and just bend the knee, and I just can't. Professor D will talk about the writings, the hieroglyphics, I'm assuming, because she knows way more about that stuff than I do. I do one quick thing about Davos and Missandei. He seems either like pervy or suspicious, and I can't really like point my finger on like how he is. I don't know if he picked something up on her. But I do love how they basically alluded to them just being slaves to Dany, because that's how I'm feeling. They're just now slaves. Dany is the new master. You know what I mean? Like, she's just a master, brought them to Westeros and just wants them all to die for her and wants everybody to just bend the fucking knee. I'm so over her. I'm done with her.
I love Sansa's rant. I agree with everything that you said, because it's like you want people to in need and go to your cause, and you're not even from here to really know what's really going on for you to feel as though coming over here you're going to do them some type of justice. So, beauty queen, I see that frowning face. I want to know, what do you think about the whole Danny scene?
I agree with what Timo and both of you said. I first let me just touch on the cave scene, because I really don't have anything to add with respect to Missandei. I just think that she's just filler. Um, I thought the cave scene was well done. The only thing that I didn't like about the cave scene is how they specifically drew the White Walkers or the Night's King like to a T, to the fact that to the point they had blue eyes. I just thought that I'm sorry. Um, I thought that was just way too convenient. Like everybody else is a stick figure, but you got the White Walkers down to their blue eyes. I just thought that was just a bit over the top, but I appreciated where they were going with it, because it was John trying. And I'm also appreciating how John is like is maturing. I don't know if I'm making sense, but the way that he is communicating, and the way that he's trying to communicate with Danny, it's like he's trying to be the mature one in their relationship, if I'm making any sense, because Danny is a hothead. Like she is so fixated on everybody bending the knee to her, she's not really taking into consideration what the bigger picture is of everything. And I think John, he's trying to talk to her in a sense, and reach out to her, or reach her in a sense where, look, I understand what you're trying to do, but there is a bigger picture. There is a bigger picture of there is a bigger, something bigger is going on. And you wanting people to bend the knee is not really that much more important than the bigger picture. And I'm trying to say, we can work together. I don't have to bend the knee to you for us to be able to work together. But Danny is so fixated on her Stannis, on being the baby Stannis, that she's not really taking that into consideration. Um, when she gets the news about what happened at Highgarden, the first thing she wants to do is go burn the Red Keep. You know what I mean? And even though Tyrion was actually giving her, even though Tyrion did underestimate what would have happened at Castle Rock, he still had a point. You going to burn down the Red Keep? What is that? What is that going to prove? What are you? You're no better than the people that have ruled there before. If you're gonna have a battle, have it with the soldiers, not with the innocent people at King's Landing. Because Cersei, when she burnt down the Sept, she didn't care who was around. There was a lot of innocent people that got killed. Do you want to be do you want to be another Cersei, in essence? You know what I mean? And I think John and Tyrion kind of pointed that out to her. Dany is always good at conquering. She's not good at ruling. She doesn't really know how to use strategy other than to take her dragons and go burn shit. She doesn't know how to be strategic. But at least she was willing to listen in some respect, in going forward, that she didn't go to the Red Keep. Because that's not where the battle, and it was kind of a callback. I don't know if they did it on the show, but in the books, when Davos comes back from the Blackwater, from the Blackwater battle, and he finally meets up with Stannis, I think it was Florent had told him that they needed to go and invade one of the Claw Islands, something like, I can't remember. It was one of the little islands off to the side. And then Davos astutely says, well, last time I checked, there weren't any lions there. So who are you fighting? How are you going to fight? Why are you fighting someplace where your enemy isn't? because you're just trying to get a quick victory just for the sake of saying that you have a victory to stroke your ego. And that scene was kind of like a callback to that. What are you doing going to King's Landing to burn the Red Keep just so you can, you know, make yourself feel better, like you've actually gained a victory, but at what cost? You know what I mean? So I really the cave scene, I really thought that the inscriptions, the way that they had the whole layout, I thought that was really well done, except for the White Walker part of it. I really appreciate Jon's maturity in trying to how he's being patient in trying to talk to. I think he's learning about how to talk to people and not like jumping head first. You know what I mean? Like he's learning how to be a negotiator and trying to talk and trying to be like a voice of reason. And so I appreciated that about that exchange. That's what we're talking about, right? We're not talking about Theon, are we?
Theon. No offense to y'all who like Theon, but I really want to talk about the battle. So I'm just going to talk about the big points, which is basically the cave scene, the drawings on the wall. As far as Dany and Jon, you know, Jon was giving her good advice, saying, you know, that if you do go to the Red's Keep, you were in a way, and she's been acting like Cersei in this episode as well, quick to just they are similar where it seems like they can do war tactics that will burn someone or have a house fall down, but at the same time when it actually comes to ruling, when it actually comes to, you know, leading people, it's not necessarily the politics, but the actual people. I think that's their downfall. So I definitely agree with you on all those things. AK, what are your thoughts about the whole cave scene? Because I know I'm not really being fair because I'm really trying to jump to the fighting scenes, but I'm still curious for your thoughts on the whole cave scene or anything you want to add on to what Beauty Queen and Timo has already said.
I don't know that I have too much more to say than they did. I did enjoy the cave scene, seeing the symbols and whatnots that were up there. I only recognize 2 of them. The rest of them I'll have to research more, unless, you know, Professor Diligence has already done so. I'll just pull out my parchment and quill and just take notes when she talks. But I thought it was cool. I need Dany to not be on that bend the knee nonsense. Like I was watching with my roommate last night, and as soon as she came out with that shit, we both were like, "This bitch." Like, can you be done with that nonsense already? There are bigger things going on. This ain't about me. This ain't about you. This is about life and continuing life. So that shit just needs to stop. But it's gonna take a lot to make Dany actually see that. So yeah, we'll see where that goes.
But my thing is that, like Beauty Queen said, they literally drew these White Walkers to perfection, and she's still like, well, I don't know, like, bitch, it's in your fucking case. Yeah, you're right. Dany kind of like pissed me off. It's like
stop the nonsense right now, child. Stop the nonsense. You were doing so well. Like you were doing so well, and now you just fucking up.
It's like, bitch, get your life together. You want to be standing so fucking bad. Bend the knee. No, bitch, you bend the knee. You ain't even front. Let me stop. I'm supposed to be the nice one,
like,
right?
Bend the knee. What have you done for me lately? You did a whole bunch of cool shit for everybody across the Narrow Sea, but what have you done for Westeros right now?
Like,
not a whole lot.
That's what you can do, but B, let us know. I know you have something to say about these symbols. I'm very curious. Like I said, I'm curious if these symbols have something to do with the spells or something. I'm curious about your thoughts. Did B leave?
Right, I'm on mute. Okay. So
yeah.
I shared the pics with you guys. I don't know if you see it. It's in the chat that we like all clicked in. So it's like in the Gmail chat. So what it looks like to me, guys, and I'm not George, and I'm not just putting it out there. So this is total tinfoil. But what it looks like to me is that it's a history. It looks like three things. It looks like a history, and it looks like well, I guess it's really only two things that would include the history. It looks like a history, and it looks like maybe instructions on how to forge a weapon. And here's why. When they first get into the cave, when they start like going through and he's like showing her stuff, like before he even really starts to show her stuff, you see on the wall, like there are these spirals, but they're solid spirals. And they have spikes coming out of them. They look like suns. Like those are the first things that you see. You see the suns. And then you see the suns and you see the, the people, like the smaller, look like people that are drawn with the cave drawings. And then the next shots that you see are, let me pull it up. Actually, the next shot that you see is kind of like a split shot. And so on the four on the wall that's like forward, we see the sun, right? And then we see those two symbols that we know we've seen. Everybody, we know we've seen those in the show. The first one is that spiral looking one. And we see that that's the Fist of the First Men symbol when they cut up the horses. And then the next one that we see is the symbol where it's a circle and a line through the middle. And that looks like the symbol that the deserters saw, made up of all the wildlings that were chopped up in that camp in the first episode. So we know that that's there. So we see the sun, right? We see the sun. We see people doing just fine. Then we see those two symbols. And then in the back wall behind it, we see a big sun and we see a person. Like that's a taller person. And they're leaned up against something. It looks kind of like a rock. So I don't know if that's them making a White Walker or whatever. When I zoom into the picture, it looks like there are like some eyes there. But I don't know. It could probably just be like a reflection off the rock. So what I see etched there, though, is definitely a person now leaning up against the rock. We don't get to see what's on the rest of that wall because, I mean, D&D hate us. But what they do is cut to what looks like a table. And on this table now is a whole nother set of symbols. We have that same symbol with, it looks like a circle, and then it has the spikes going out of it. I'm going to say that symbol, guys, is not just the sun, but fire. So it has what I think is the fire symbol, another symbol that is a bisection, and then another symbol that is just circles upon circles upon circles. It's three circles that sort of like are bigger to smaller, one each inside of the other. And so what I'm thinking is this is probably like a work table. I'm thinking this was probably a forge. It was back in the day and you had to make weapons for the long night or I'm thinking that more than likely this would be the forge. You would be here where the material is. You have the fire and you'd be forging these weapons, possibly with dragon flame, because we know from the page that we saw in the book, in the Citadel book with Sam, I think in the first or the second episode of this season, that obsidian can be liquefied by dragon flame. That's how the Targaryens and the Valyrians were able to make those solid stone monuments without any joints and stuff in it. It's right there in the book. So we know that. You guys got to excuse my family if you hear them laughing in the background. Love and hip hop. But when you're looking at the table, to me, it looks like it's some type of workshop. Are you guys still there?
Oh yeah, we're sitting here taking notes.
So, right, girl. We just sit here like, oh, okay. I am going to say that I highly recommend that you do a video where you go into the full details more, where you can actually show the visuals and stuff, because I'm just all for what you're saying right now.
I second that.
Keep on.
Cool beans. So I don't be long, so we can just hurry up and get done. But with this, what I think is going on is that this is a history. We're looking at a history of the world, guys. We're looking at the children of the forest saying, hey, we were here. We started out there in the sun. And then they take us through the fight for the dawn, the war for the dawn. That's what they're showing us on those walls. They're showing us that first White Walker being made, and then they're showing us the humans and the children of the forest coming together. We don't get to see what's on those other walls. If you remember, Jon is kind of just pulling her from place to place where he's seen him. But we don't know what else is up there, what's higher, you know, whatever dirty, we don't know. But I think that's what we're seeing. And then when they come over to what looks like slabs where it's flat, I think that this is where we're seeing a workbench, and this is a forge. I think that the children of the forest and the first men were mining the dragon glass out of Dragonstone. They were forging it into weapons there, in that hill, in that protected hill, because what kind of White Walker is coming up in that bitch, especially, you know, with all the runes and stuff, it may even be warded. So that's what I think is going on in there, and hopefully we'll see more. And T, I will do a video, as you said. And then what's going on with Jon and Dany? Man, this cave of love BS with Jon just has to stop. Like, but whatever. Like, he goes into the cave, and this is just what he's like. I want to show you this before we start hacking it to pieces, and I want to show you this amazing thing because I'm hoping that it'll just sway you because it's thousands of years old and basically spells out exactly what our problem is. And Dany goes in there, and she's like, no, I'm not feeling it. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm on the precipice of history. I'm standing where the children of the first men stood before there was anyone, even men. And Jon's like, nah, I got one better. We need to fight together. And she's like, I will. Now, I want to get to this part. I understand everybody's like, well, she was all cool until she was like, all right, I'm going to fight for you as long as you bend with me. This is my thing. It just felt incredibly personal. I understand that she's playing the game, but she's playing the game real well. One of the things that immediately jumps out, and I know I've been talking for a long time, so I'm not going to, but one of the things that immediately jumps out is that she refers to Jon as king. He refers to his people as my people, and she's like, they will if your king does. They'll accept me if their king does. Now monarch to monarch. In the previous episodes, you were not calling Jon Snow a king. When Missandei sees him later, she's not calling Jon Snow a king. She's calling him Lord Snow. So my whole thing is that I think that Dany understands that she's dealing with someone that has, you know, an intact kingdom, and that she's going to need to tread lightly here because of politics instead of just burning through the realm. But she still wants him to bend the knee, which is incredibly annoying to me. I would think that she would even propose marriage or something by now. I thought that that's what they were going to do, because at this point, they're the only two monarchs that make sense, you know? But whatever, she's doing that. However, I gotta say, when she was saying, I will fight for you, I will fight for the North, I do think that was incredibly personal, especially when she was like, if you accept me. It basically was her saying, accept me as your queen, and your people will. And I was just like, okay, you're really massaging the whole, like, we don't get to see that part of Cersei like we get to see in the books, like where Cersei's sort of sleeping with everybody, but Dany's just like, yeah, take me, you can, I just accept me, Jon Snow, and I'll fight for you. And I kind of feel like it's more just like a ploy, because just like Tyrion told her, others will love you, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's like her next sort of, I don't know how else to say it. I feel like that's just her next her next level of gameplay, because she's running out of shit to do with him. I think that it's weird that when they come out the cave, Jon can't even look at Davos. So I wonder what else was said off screen, like if he bent the knee in that cave, because he can't even look at Davos. And again, right after that, Missandei is calling him Lord Snow. So
I honestly can't see him bending the knee. It's just that even if Jon was to accept it, they still wouldn't accept him, because once again, it goes back to you left as a king, so you coming back as warden of the North.
King.
Right, and I think she's playing him because he's saying, yeah, if their king would do it, but if the king bends the knee, he's not the king no more. So she's saying one thing, but then she's also kind of going at it in a different way. So I don't know. I think she was just using this not innocent, but this pure type of moment that they had, and she used it when he wasn't so cold and he seemed to let his guard down. She's like, I'll give you everything you want, just bend the knee. And when she says, like, you know, do it for your people, it goes back to, why would I tell my people to fight your cause? Is at the north and he's willing to take us all out. So once again, it goes back to, she doesn't really care, because if you did, you would have done like Stannis did, where Stannis was always bend the knee, and then he started to realize, I can't really win the throne unless I'm actually doing it for the people. And I think that's where Dany has her disconnect, is that she was at first doing it for the people, but when she got to Westeros, it was just, well, this is for me now. I want to kind of go into does anyone have anything else they want to say about the whole Dany, Jon, and Dragonstone before we move on?
I think I need Davos to not play matchmaker. Like, we don't have time for that. Like John said, there's no time for that, sir. There are bigger things to come on.
Davos is kind of looking at it as, maybe you shouldn't have to bend the knee, but alliance through marriage could be a possibility. Looking at it at that angle more than just to say, hey, I saw you looking at it. But then again, Davos does notice a lot of things, and they are showing that he's picking up on a lot of things. To the heart of this fucking episode, the battle where Dany was like, she's tired of everyone's bullshit. She's tired of these clever plans. She's like, fuck it. I got fucking dragons. Watch me let some shit go. And I'm going to start it off with Timo, because you know she loves her golden dumbass. So, Timo, I am so curious what you thought about Jaime. Let me say his proper name. Yes. I'm curious what you thought about him in this whole scene, how he took charge, how his dumbass took a charge, and then I just want to know all your thoughts, girl. Let me have it.
Jaime, he was so gallant. He's the ultimate hero. He is like confirmed Azor Ahai in my eyes, born amid salt and smoke. Like, he was the hero. He did not, you know, Tyrion last episode made a point about the Lannister army versus Unsullied fighting for freedom and the Lannister fighting for fear. The Lannister army stayed and fought because of their, like, wonderful commander. Their commander stayed with them. He didn't run like a little bitch. He stayed with them. He fought with them. Jaime is not dumb. He's a coward. He's not a coward. He's not none of that. He ran, he charged, he figured, I might as well die and kill this foreign invader to save the many. I will lay down my life to save, is what Jaime was thinking as he was running towards Dany.
Shut that shit up.
He was so sad. Saw the heartbreak in his eyes, watching his people burn. Like, I'm sure he had some Mad King vibes, and you saw the heartbreak. He's so kind, selfless, and you guys are just misunderstanding him right now. This episode, everyone, that he is truly the hero of the story. And Dany, she, like, why did she keep burning? Like, the battle was won, and she keeps burning. And then those Dothraki bitches, no, the Lannister army stayed and fight for their commander. They stayed. They laid down their life for laid down his gold. That's how much Jaime inspires people. That is all for now.
Girl, you went so Sansa, full fucking Sansa. That shit's ridiculous. Jaime does not inspire jack shit. And his goofy dumb. I'm not even going to go there because I know you love this dude, and I want people to speak their mind because this is an open type of environment. But he's so fucking stupid, and they keep showing you, flee, you idiot. You fucking idiot, to the point. But Jaime's so brave and so smart, and that's why he ended up the way that he did. But I'm really curious, AK, do you agree with this nonsense, or is Timo making sense? Is it
Is Timo making sense right now.
I think she's going full Sansa.
Yeah, this is I had to come out the Matrix on that shit. Really? He's a hero. He inspires people to do what? Be dumbasses? Fuck everything about Jaime Lannister. Fuck his whole life, his entire aura bothers the shit out of me. And I cannot wait to see him die. I hope he drowns in his armor, but he's probably going to get saved by Bran because him and Cersei have to die together because they're some fucking golden dumbasses. Fuck Jaime.
They are
Jaime. Jaime wasn't sitting there giving no proud speech about fight for your people in your land. He didn't give a fuck about that. He just wanted to get home so he could bang his sister again before Euron does. That's what Jaime was fucking worried about. Okay, that's it. I mean, and you even look at his fucking conversation with Bran. Bran had every damn right to say everything he said to that man. And he was like, dude, I just gave you a bunch of gold. So, okay, but this isn't the castle and the better wife that I was supposed to been got like 2 seasons ago. And we're still here, and I'm asking you to pay your fucking debt, and I ain't getting shit. So that little bag of gold, I'm with Bran. Fuck that little bag of gold. What is that gonna do? That's not gonna give me a castle. That's not gonna give me a badass bitch for me to go home with. And you sitting here and then just gonna order me around to go be your muscle. I don't even get to sit here and chill and take a break. I've done some work, but now you want me to go play like little foot soldier to this other motherfucker that I don't know and probably don't like because Bran don't really fuck with people like that. I'm just saying, and this is the man that is great, that is inspiring his soldiers to fight for their people. Half them motherfuckers ran. I don't know what part of the show you were watching. I saw them motherfuckers start running away. I'm just saying.
Got dragons.
They saw that dragon and they were like, oh, we thought she was playing. No, take off them golden dumbass tinted glasses and look at what really happened. Please, Timo, you my sister. I'm trying to save you. Please look at what is actually happening here. Fuck Jaime, fuck Cersei, and all of their golden dumbassness. I hope Arya kills every last one of them. Fuck them. I was hoping Drogon would burn his ass. Damn it, but Jaime has plot armor right now, so Bran pushed him out the way. And I'm pretty sure Bran's gonna pull him out of the fucking ocean also. But whatever.
Yo, that was I enjoyed this episode so much, and then I was like, his dumbass actually gonna do it. And then when they showed him
his own brother. His own fucking brother even said it. Run away, you fucking idiot. What are you doing?
I also want to let you know that this is the second episode people call this man a dumbass. I'm just saying. But Beauty Queen, I want to hear your thoughts on this, the golden dumbass, the whole battle. Like, what were your favorite parts of it? Was it a smart move to charge a full fucking dragon? I'm just saying that's a legitimate question. Curious.
I thought that whole entire scene was absolutely brilliantly done. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I love the way that she strategically, you know how they had the line? She strategically burnt a hole straight through the line, and the Dothraki were able to cut through that line. I thought that was brilliantly done. I also like the fact that she targeted that whole loot train. Like, she went straight down that line and targeted that entire loot train. I think with all the fires that she was throwing out, all the Dracarys moves that she was doing, they were strategic. They weren't just for the sake of just burning. They were actually strategic burns. You know what I mean? Like, she was strategically knocking off things, which I thought was actually smart on her. I don't know if she was the one that came up with the idea, but whoever it was that came up with the idea, I thought that was brilliantly done. Bran is like the ultimate troll.
He's like, you go get it. I ain't give me one hand. Like, he's such a bitch. Go ahead. My bad. Let me stop.
That look he gave when Jaime told him to go get that scorpion, he goes, you go get it.
would have said the same thing. You better use your good
He's like,
hands.
I can't shoot with one hand. He gave him that look like. He said, didn't I tell you to take your behind?
Manaro, we can't hear you. Or is it just me?
Huh?
Is technology fucking me up?
It might be. Jamie's probably touching it again. Keep going, Beauty Queen.
Yeah, I like the way that the look that he gave him, like, didn't I tell you to get out of here in the first place? You talking about, oh, you wasn't gonna abandon him. He goes, yo, you're a freaking commander. You can't do you can't do. I know he really wanted to tell him, look, you one-handed bandit, you can't do crap. I know that's what he really wanted to say, but he was like, you're a battle commander. You're not supposed to be here with your men fighting. And I really thought it was a little bit, I know it was for show effect, but literally Jamie was fighting with a bad arm, with a bad hand, and he was killing people. Really? Really? I just, I'm sorry. Whatever badassery he used to own back when he had both his hands, he no longer has that. And the fact that they had him out there like killing people with his bad arm, like his bad hand, I just thought that was just like incredulous. I was like, no, whatever, dude. But anyways, I know it was for show effect, so whatever. He was absolutely incredible, incredibly. I have no words for Jamie this particular scene. And the biggest thing that really took me was at the end of all things, you wait till she turns her back and you figure you're going to do the same thing to her that you did to her dad. You're going to try to stab her in the back. You decide to take up a spear and run full, not to mention she has a big ass dragon that is still moving, but
that can see you.
You decide, no, I'm going to go ahead and grab the spear and I'm going to wait till she turned her back and be like, let's go, boy. Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, up, giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, up, giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, up. Oh, snap! Here comes Bran once again to save your dumb behind.
Bran said, take your ass home.
Once again, here comes Bran to save your dumb behind from getting roasted. Because you should have been dead.
That pissed me off. He should be dead.
He should have been dead. He should have just been dead. What were you thinking? You can't be that bright. You are not that smart.
He's a slow learner. He said this already.
You are not.
But I just don't understand where it sounds smart to charge a full-grown ass dragon. It's not like he couldn't whip his neck around. And I agree with you. I found that such a bitch move that he waited till her back was turned, because he has to get to the sister pussy so bad that he's willing to do the same dumb shit that he said he couldn't stand, because I don't know, maybe that's his thing, that he just can't really kill you unless he's stabbing you in the back or got help.
Well, you know what, Marco? If he was trying to end the war, then he should have thrown the spear from a safe distance instead of trying to charge at a full-grown dragon. Seriously? Oh, I'm sorry. He can't throw it. It's his bad arm. It's not his throwing arm. Clue.
But exactly why he should have took his dumb ass back home.
Where were you going?
I need to ask you guys a question.
Where were you going?
Hold on. Before we get there, I just want to real quick hear B's thoughts, and then you can ask a question, because I know I'm trying to save you, man. But B, real quick, say it. I'm gonna give you a chance because I know that's your man. I'm a fair person.
Listen, Timo, I can't believe you. Like, I had to literally say, no, turn the camera on. What the hell is going on here? Like, did we watch the same? I didn't know you were that bad with Jamie. Like, are you kidding me? He inspired.
She goes full Sansa when it comes to Jamie.
I'm just trying to take it back in, because it's like, I know she didn't. Is she? Okay. So, Naro, awesome point about him trying to take her out like he took out Aerith. Like, just going over the whole battle, like, because I had notes from it. Like, I just want to say dick on real quick for everybody to laugh at. Like I literally rewind that like 2-3 times when on the first run. Like no, say it again, because Bronn struck me as the egret of the situation, and everyone else was just Jon Snow. Like they knew nothing. Like you know nothing, Jaime Lannister. You know nothing, Dickon Tarly. Didn't you learn this in fancy lad school? You didn't learn any of this? Don't rush a dragon, huh? You didn't learn any of this? People crap themselves when they die, huh? So it was just like he had it. Like he was hilarious the entire time, and I really enjoyed Bronn. So I also want to note that the gold did make it back to King's Landing, so that's something else we don't have to worry about. But the battle itself, I was looking at Jaime run around that horse. Go ahead.
T, you're muted.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Life is. No, I was saying that they did. I thought that the gold didn't make it, but before the fighting even started, Tarly did say that it made it back to King's Landing safely. So Cersei, she still got the gold to pay back the Iron Bank. And she did. They did accomplish that. I did think that when I watched it again, it definitely did. Go back to the Jaime hate. I'm loving it.
Okay, so I'm gonna get to the Jaime hate with the fight itself. Okay, like setting it up. When you look at this fight, guys, it's crazy because it's like, wow, something about this dragon also invokes like a Night King feeling to me because the storm comes with her. The storm doesn't break through the clouds, but it feels like a storm. The clouds are dark. You hear and feel rumbling, and then it's screeching. You know what I'm saying? Like a lightning and thunder kind of concept, but instead it is Daenerys on Dragonback and with the Dothraki. So I thought that was cool. Seeing Dany on the dragon and then having the POV of the dragon is like, what? Like, this is the most awesome video game I've ever played in my life. Like, I'm on the back of a dragon and there's fire. I'm just fire on you. Fire. It was crazy. It was awesome. And I think it was something that we've been waiting to see for a long time. I respect Jaime for his commanding position and all that. You know, he was like, you know, hold that line. I'm on a horse. You go over there. I'm still on a horse. And you go over there. Somehow the fire is missing me completely. Plot armor. But you go over there. Fire around here and everywhere. But I am safe and my horse is not even scared by the fire, which is weird. But it just, whatever. He was there. He was commanding. It was good. I thought he was incredibly stupid, though. It was like, okay, so did Tyrion, was he the only person with a card to the, like, Lannister library or something like that? How does he know how dragons can be harmed? And you haven't got it through your thick head that some archers sitting here doing this are probably not the best idea towards a dragon. I don't know. Maybe they have fire. I don't know. Maybe those are just sticks. I don't know. But he just did it. He was like, archers up. They did it. Of course, none of that worked. We got to see where the vulnerabilities are on the dragon. It looks like, you know, we were talking about belly scales and chest scales or whatever. His chest plate is straight. It's nothing hurting that. He was like, what? Like, they did the thing. He was just like, yes, I'm Drogon. Like, it just hit him. He didn't care. Dany was on his back having a great time. That was awesome to see. The strategy. When she burnt the line, she not only burnt a line so that the Dothraki could go through. The Dothraki went through, guys, but if you go rewatch that part when they start to rush them, they flank them from all sides. You see the Dothraki coming down from that hill, but if you slow it down, you'll also see from the sides. They're like this, and there are literally Dothraki coming from all sides. Where are they coming from? They flank them. And it's very reminiscent to the Field of Fire. And I know it's Field of Fire 2.0, but when we look at what the history was of it, you have some things that are flipped, but it was the Gardener Kings and the Lannisters decided to rise up. So that's Highgarden again and the Lannisters. And we see what happened. They basically got wiped the hell out. So it was really cool to see like those parallels in history. And then another parallel is that Visenya took an arrow to the shoulder. Drogon took an arrow to like the shoulder neck area, so I thought that was a cool pickup too. Additionally, another note on strategy, Dany literally went up that supply line, y'all. Like, she went up that. She was like, y'all ain't getting Nathan. And it's crazy because her people need to eat too. So it's like, maybe you could have thought of a different way, like maybe burn the grass on that side so they couldn't get, I don't know. But she was like, forget that dragon. She just, and I thought it was awesome because what she created was like this line of fire, right? So she messed up the baggage train. On the other side, there's water. Ain't nowhere for you to go. You're stuck between water and you're in armor, so you're gonna drown, which is reminiscent of the fish feed. So you're stuck in water or you're stuck in fire. You got to make a choice. Run through there and try to burn or drown because you're not swimming with that armor on. Very smart. Additionally, for the people that were on the other side of that baggage train, if you slow down that video, you'll see the Dothraki coming through. They were flanking the entire train, so she caught them in between fire. If she didn't have you between fire and Dothraki, then she had you between fire and water, and you were in armor and there's no place to go. So it was really smart. It was strategic. The fire land, it was awesome. When Bronn did the bolt to the neck, I was like, oh my gosh, Bronn, why are you even here? Why haven't you defected to Tyrion by now? Like, Tyrion always paid your debts. Like, that was your homeboy.
I was like, he might be switching sides, because you also have to think that Jaime basically paid his debt because he's owed a castle, and he chose Highgarden, but he can't necessarily give him Highgarden because he promised that to Tarly. So I don't know. I think that the fact that they showed that scene where his gold dropped and he's like contemplating to grab it or to go somewhere else, we might switch teams.
Bronn made the wrong choice.
He looked at that white horse. What got me is that after the scorpion thing or whatever, I think it was a scorpion, but after the bolt action thing blew up, there was a white horse, and he looked at it like, like, what are my options here? Obviously, he just out of here. He was like, fuck the gold, fuck it all. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, he decided to save Jaime's life because Jaime is in plot armor. I'm here on a horse that is not afraid of charging at a dragon. No, the horse is not afraid of that.
Was gonna happen? What did he think was gonna happen? You stabbed her. Was it supposed to be like some suicide mission? I killed Dany, but I get burnt by a dragon. Like, if you watch it again, flow it to like the last. Just go to the last few seconds, right when he's about to get actually blasted with fire, and you see his goofy, dumbass look like, oh, this was a bad idea. Yes, it was a fucking bad idea. You can't just fucking charge grown ass dragons. It's not like this big thing was hurting Drogon so much that he couldn't turn his fucking neck around and blast your dumbass. But I keep focused on Jaime's dumbass that I forgot to talk about the Dothraki and how they just fight, their fighting styles. Like the scene where the Dothraki was going head to head with Bronn, and he's thinking like, oh, I can get him. And he kind of does this thing where he slides off his sword and type. I was like, yes, I'm with you, beauty queen. Shit. That Jaime was actually giving some go to Dothraki. And at first I thought that they was going to BS us and when Bronn said, you need to get up out of here, I was like, yeah, because that's the only way I see him surviving this, because he cannot fight Dothraki. It goes to the Dothraki that talked to Tyrion. It's like, y'all can't even fight. You're damn right they can't fight. Dany definitely spreading fire so that people couldn't run but so far. She definitely made sure that she got the food and water supplies. I think she just missed the whole gold thing, but the whole, I love it, gave me like a Battles of the Bastard type vibe, but then you put the smoke and then you see it, and then I like the fact that you couldn't really see her every time because it was so much smoke, and then all of a sudden you just see Drogon big ass just swoop out of nowhere and he's blazing everyone on fire. But some of the scenes, the way that it was cut, it seemed like Jaime would have gotten burned, especially Bronn in some of those scenes, because I was saying the way the fire was spreading, it almost kind of looked like wildfire, how it spreads really fast. shots, I was like, okay, he would have got burnt a little bit, or maybe like a little bit of his clothes were caught on fire or something like that. Yes, girl, I loved all of this action. I wish, first of all, if she had both her dragons, no one's alive. That's it. So Jamie should be thankful to Dany that she only brought one fucking dragon, and then she died bring all three of her dragons, because he definitely would be dead. I am kind of disappointed that they where he's drowning, because it's the same thing with Tyrion. So in the back of my mind, I know he's alive, but at best he's going to be captured. And this would be like the third time someone bamboozled Jamie and took Tywin's precious son, the dumbass. And it goes back to, I don't care for Jamie because he doesn't think his shit through. Like, even though you're so pressed for Cersei and you see like this opportunity to supposedly end it, but at the same time it's still not smart, because you're letting all these other men, because you're not smart enough when to retreat and when to keep going. Like, you can't fucking beat a dragon. But Timo, I'm curious, what else do you have to say about your precious golden dumbass?
Yeah, like, you guys, I'm not understanding. Is there echo?
No, let me unmute myself. Go ahead.
Hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Timo.
Yeah, I really don't understand the Jamie hate. Like, people act like he's the worst person in Westeros. Everybody's always like, oh, he pushed Bran. Well, Olenna fucking killed a kid and everybody loves her. Like, I mean,
that kid was Joffrey.
So he was still a kid.
You can't even think of anything.
And he pushed Bran because he couldn't stop fucking his sister. It wasn't like he was in danger. If he left his dick out of his sister, Bran wouldn't have been pushed. Like, if you gonna fuck your sister, fuck her in your home. Don't you go to our fucking house and fuck, and then you gonna push him? Like, no.
Bran should listen to his mama. If his mother, dumbass Stark, disciplined her children better, he wouldn't be climbing up there.
In your house, saying, "Oh, well, you should have listened." No, you going to someone else.
He can go wherever the fuck he want to go. Cut
and
that nonsense out. He shouldn't have been climbing.
All he does is
fucking his sister. Come on,
this is why Jamie is also the hero again. Because if Jamie never pushed Bran out the window, Bran never would have got his powers. So that's another check mark.
You don't fucking
for
know
Jamie
that.
hero.
Prove that.
Without, if he never got pushed out the window,
prove that
he never would become the three-eyed raven, which probably saved the world. So yes, Jamie is a fucking hero.
Repeating it is improving.
Then he should die as a hero and stay his goofy dumb ass in the water. There's no point in him coming back. Not going to bring any. The only thing he's going to do is fuck his sister.
That's my next point.
Go ahead and let you and Eli live in your denial and your ignorance. I'm go ahead.
If Jamie would have just ran away, if he would have retreated or left his men to burn, everybody would be like, oh, he's such a pussy. And, you know, they'd be talking shit then. It's like no matter what he does, people are going to talk shit about him.
He put his men in the line, in the field of fire. And they were like burnt to dust. Like he actually,
if they ran away, they wouldn't have got that far.
He put them in, he told them to raise their shield against what? Dragon fire?
Where would they run? Where would they run?
Where he miraculously, as Lady V says, did not get burnt when he was that close in proximity. It's like the fire missed him by like 2 inches.
But where would they run? If he didn't say like, hey, let's put up a fight at least, where would, I mean, you can't escape.
Should have called for a surrender.
Put up a fight.
Should have called for a surrender or a retreat. Should have called for a surrender or a retreat.
As if Dany,
just saying, maybe
arrogant ass would ever even hear. This is someone who's burning food, who plans on starving them all. There's no such thing as
all the food in the Reach is not burnt. They had just given the order to go and get all of the food before the battle started.
And they're talking about hustling farmers out of their food.
And I want to know why people are cheering Dany for this whole field of fire, for burning the poor Lannisters, the brave Lannisters. They're cheering her for doing this. But then at Hardhome, everybody's like, oh my God, the Night King is evil. Holy shit. It was the same exact thing, a massacre where they couldn't do nothing to fight back. A massacre, like the same thing. One was ice, but one was fire.
Same thing.
So we might as well cheer for the
Lannisters just came from massacred everybody at Highgarden. They just massacred everybody at Highgarden.
Hold on. Beauty Queen, say it again.
They just massacred everybody at Highgarden. So just saying, this was like people
a nuclear weapon.
This is war. Look, just because you don't have a better weapon than the next man is not their fault. She just had a better weapon.
And then you
So are we going to start cheering the Night King then? Because it's the same exact thing. Hardhome and this fire.
Even after that
right now the Night King is winning. Right now the Night King is winning.
Okay, so we can all agree that that Dany is now the fire thing.
Right now,
like the equivalent to Night King.
But you know what?
That was but on the fire side.
The real reason is because they got real complacent. That's what happens with complacency, right? Because Tarly, if you notice, Tarly was trying to get the hell out of there, but they was really being complacent, right? Because they just took over Highgarden and they thought, oh, there's no way that Dany would have gotten there in time because Euron supposedly had burnt all of their ships. But if you go back to the beach conversation, Tyrion said, we still have ships. Let's just take all the Dothraki and go to Highgarden. So that's Jaime's fault as the battle commander for not being astute enough to be able to cover his tracks well. They were complacent. They were taking their time. You got what you needed out of Highgarden. Beat feet. No, you're just going to take your time because you don't think anybody's going to come and challenge you because you got kabillions of army. No matter how big an army you have, there's always somebody that may have a bigger armor than you and better weaponry than you. Just that was just like it was Tyrion's bad when he thought that he should have been defending. He should have taken Castle Rock instead of going for Highgarden. Well, then it turnabout is fair play.
All right, so I just have like a couple more points, like very short.
Hold on, real quick. Let AK and then you can go for it, okay, Timo?
Oh yeah.
I don't have too much else to say. Eli keeps insisting that things happen that didn't. I get what you're trying to say, Eli, but the way they cut those scenes, just look at the timeline. They didn't have any time to go anywhere at all. They hadn't left. They were procrastinating. So in all Dany's travel time, they were still there. Nobody went and got shit. Just saying, but whatever. Let's move on. Timo, go ahead. I need to go make food.
Okay. I disagree because even if they had sped up a dragon, like they were gonna burn. But anyway, just a quick thing. Dany did take John's advice, correct? Like, because she asked him for advice, and he said, "Don't burn the Red Keep." So I assume John is the cause of this. I hope he's not, because John is my number 2. So I'd be very upset if this is the reason why.
I think he took John's and Tyrion's advice. So you have to be mad at both of them for trying to kill your.
Right.
Go ahead and rationalize that, Timo. Go ahead and rationalize that.
Because Tyrion was the one that said that, look, that they could still put their plan in action. They could still take the ships that were burnt by Euron and take the Dothraki and go to Highgarden. And then that's when she asked John. I don't remember if she asked John what should she do after he said that. I believe it is. And then he gave her that speech like, yo, if you go to the Red Keep, you're not gonna be any different. Be different. And I think that's when she went along with what Tyrion had suggested, and which is how they all ended up at Highgarden.
And that was the other thing. Tyrion's reaction to like his family and everybody getting burned was so like sad. That was just so heartbreaking. And when the dragon got like hit. Like, I've been championing for a dragon death just to pay for all the direwolf deaths. But I'm not gonna lie, it kind of hurt to hear the dragon cry out. That did kind of hurt me a little bit. So that and the horse leg thing.
Have to pay for the direwolf deaths. They had
Yeah, the horse. It was also.
Did you see them 3 horses that hightailed it out of there? They were like, "Yo, we out."
I would too if I saw a big ass dragon to my left. Like, fuck y'all, y'all can have this fight.
Oh, see, I know we're talking about animals. So, hi, puppy.
The little Chewy,
All right,
Chewy, the little dire wolf.
I know.
We're gonna wrap this up. This was so much fun. I love bashing Jamie, and having Sansa on to do it just made it all worth the while. But this is the Mad Queens. We definitely hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to shout out my girls so they can do their exit, and then hopefully, it might be another stream, who knows. But I'm just glad that you guys were down to listen to us ramble about this episode and geek out with us. So let's say our goodbyes, and we're going to start off with my girl AK so she can get her food.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I am hungry, and I do not have any more energy to waste on dumbass Jamie and all of his army of dumbasses that are all burnt to ash now because they're all fucking dumbasses. But y'all know me. I'm always around with my sisters. Like I always say, you catch me on their channels a lot quicker than you catch me on my own. But you can sub me if you want. Sundays I do a live stream during the episode, so if you need someone to watch with, come into the chat room and let's conversate as we watch the episode. I will be back probably next month, I think, with Manaro and BBM and Lavla for our book club. If you're interested, we are reading Eaters of the Dead by Michael Crichton. I highly suggest it. It's a good book. I also suggest watching the movie 13th Warrior, starring Antonio Banderas. It's based on that book. Y'all come back and see us next week. Mad Queens, we in this full effect. We will be back next Monday or Tuesday, one of them days. We'll figure it out. But I love y'all, everybody in the chat. I think earlier we had Ideas, Spice, and Fire and Analysis of Thrones and a whole bunch of other cool ass people. Thank y'all for coming in and watching us. Peace.
Yes, definitely check those out. My girl B, let them know where they can find you.
Hey guys, it's Lady D. You can find me. My link is down there. I know it is.
Yeah, got you.
See, baby, put it there. I saw it. So other than that, catch me on one of these lovely ladies' channels every week while we're breaking down another episode of Game of Thrones. So yeah, it's been a pleasure here with you ladies, and thank you very much for everyone coming out to hang out with us tonight. It was fun as always, and I will get on that video about the rooms.
Because I think that would be an excellent video that you would excel in. And you guys hit the thumbs up and also just kind of spam her comment section so we can do a weird, creepy thing about the Children of the Forest and just geek out about them. Because I'm with you. I find that the Children of the Forest are good and bad. So I would be down with that. Just speaking that into existence. But also got to give it up to my girl, Beauty Queen. Where can they find you?
Yeah, just like everybody else, T was kind enough to put a link to my channel down in the bottom.
Because I got you.
Yeah, always a lot of fun to hang out with my fellow sisters here on the panel. And of course, we would not be here without you guys here in the chat. So thank you so much for hanging out and talking about this episode with us this evening. It was absolutely a great episode, and I'd be interested to see what you rate this episode this week. I think last week, I think the majority of us was between like 4 and 5. This time, as good as the ending was, I gave it like a 6 because we still got some more episodes to go. So I don't want to give it too high a rating, but it was definitely a great episode. That ending scene was perfect. Yeah, so thanks again for hanging out with us. And you can catch me on the interwebs with these lovely ladies, and have a great rest of the week. Peace.
Gotta love that girl. And Timo, my Sansa of all Sansa, Jamie lover of them all. Where can they find you?
Well, I don't have a channel, and looking
There
at
you
that
go.
description, it looks like I need one because
I tried to find you and I couldn't. I'm sorry, but
I know
y'all know Timo there, and if she has a page now,
I've been trying to trick
You
Timo
do.
into having a channel for like 2 years now. Yo, y'all spam her in the messages. Tell her to start a damn
She
channel.
got like 51 subscribers. I'm subscribed to her.
Exactly. Come on, son.
right. I don't know how to make
Timo
videos. Like,
you could just do streams to be honest with you. I think you would excel in that.
yeah, like streams. I would just be ranting about shit. But anyway, thank you guys, and thank you T for having me.
Of course.
And I can't always make all these, so I'm just glad that I was able to be here to discuss this very conflicting episode. Like, I'm not sure what I would rate it. Like, it's hurt me too much, so I can't give it like a too high of a rating because it's just too much. The Lannisters are down. We are not out. Like, we are still, like, we got the gold. Like, I don't know. Maybe we'll. Oh, we didn't talk about the Golden Company. Maybe Gendry is with the Golden Company. Anyway,
I did think Gendry when Jamie was in the water, I was like, I wonder if Gendry get his ass. But then I was like, maybe
You gonna just roll up out of nowhere.
let me not get to that because I'll go rant. Y'all know me and my rabbit holes. Me and me living there. I'm not going back.
so let's just say the Lannisters. Everybody keep the Lannisters in your prayers, okay?
Girl, you
And have a good night,
you
everyone.
She's asking people to hold vigils.
Rationalize.
She's asking people to light a candle and hold vigils for the Lannisters. What she go with?
Nah, not even. Y'all can do that on Timo's channel. So now she has a reason to make one. Y'all can save the Lannisters one step at a time, but not over here. We troll the Lannisters because we troll them all. But anyway, it's been real. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hit the like button before I tell Arya your name. Let us know in the comment section what you thought about the episode. Did you dig the stream? Do you want us to do more of these? And also, if you want us to do like maybe a Q&A where we just answer some of your questions, let me know. If not, we'll see you on the next time. And Jamie, he's a bitch.